Excellent connection.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Going live, we're live, we're live.
my
Sorry about the
goodness.
delay there. We're starting 5 minutes late, but never mind.
Nod
Hello,
off.
welcome. Yes, I think I nodded off with the software. Welcome to Live Chat with Liz and Scats once again. It's your
Hi.
Wednesday evening loveliness, or Wednesday morning, afternoon, or middle of the night, depending on where you are in the world. Today we've got lots of updates of what's going on, but our main topic is fasting and the different fasting patterns that are available to you, either for losing weight or all of the other amazing benefits you can get. So we'll be telling you about them and how we feel about them.
Yeah.
So, as usual, we're going to sing our little theme song.
Oh,
And
and
get
accompanied with some rain.
Yes, it's very stormy here, so listen, if we go offline, then stick with us, unless it just completely trashes and the
Like a very dark all
and,
of a sudden.
and we have a power cut. But you know, if it goes off, what we'll do is, if it completely goes off, we'll carry on going here unless there's a power cut, and we'll record the whole thing and then we'll put it out as an unlive. But stick with it anyway.
It's
Right.
an orange warning at the moment, so it's quite interesting.
Orange. Oh, we're so high, aren't we? Because I've got a cap on. Thank you. I should know how to do this. I'm a musician. Da 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 da. Ting.
Fabulous. Always a complete and utter nightmare, that sort of thing.
Indeed.
It's
And-
normally me who makes a problem.
And ting.
And ting.
We have ting, and we have a ting up there as
Ting
well,
up there
somewhere
as
in the
well.
middle.
Yeah.
And so before we start, let's mention the t-shirts. The t-shirts are ready, and we've ordered ones to show you. This is the black ting. There are different colours available, and you can also get V-necks and all kinds of different things. And you'll find the web address for all of our merchandise in the description below. You can get t-shirts and hoodies and mugs and phone cases. And let me just show you the hoodie. We're just going to go. We're up in the corner. Look, we've gone very small. Now, where's the hoodie? I'll learn how to use this properly. It's that one there. There. Look at this handsome chap. That's the U2 Spain hoodie. And
I really like that.
I do. Yeah, it's lovely.
And it's really nice. And we're kind of shocked actually, because when we got these, we thought they wouldn't be. You know, sometimes you get these t-shirts and stuff, and you send away for them, and they're a bit naff. But actually, they're really good quality ones.
Yeah, that's it. It's not just
I'm kind of
photographs
surprised.
stuck on. These ones
Yeah.
these are printed. They're fantastic.
I'm really surprised. So I'm thrilled. They're absolutely great. And you can get eco ones as well. So they're on eco cotton, or just ordinary cotton. Some of them come from all over the world. So just take a look and see what you fancy.
Yeah, and
There's
you
loads
can
of them.
and you can get phone cases and.
I've not done phone cases for all the designs actually.
Have you not?
No, I need to get onto
Alright.
that. But yeah.
Well, if anybody wants one, then just request one, whichever
Yeah.
logo you want, or even make your own design up and send it to us, and we'll get it
Yay,
we'll get it sorted for you. And so there's mugs and those. U2 Yoga, Liz and Scats logo. This one here, with or without the ting, and U2 Yoga, U2 Spain,
loads to do
etc.
with keto and loads to do with fasting as well. So
Yes. So one more thing before we take you on the fasting roller coaster ride. Don't forget to like this video if you get something out of it, and of course subscribe and click on the bell.
ding.
And we have some wonderful news after we've talked about fasting, so stick around to the end. There's loads of fun along the way. It's loads of fun. Yes. So here we go then. Fasting patterns and what they mean for your body. That's the title. And there are several different patterns of fasting that you can do. So we're going to run through them and tell you what happens to your body on each of them. So the first one, we've not talked about this one very much. It's the 5 to 2. No, it doesn't mean 5 minutes to 2.
It's just
5 days to 2
2.
days.
Yeah.
And we've not talked about it very much because we don't really go for this one, but let's find out what it is first. And Liz, of course, is the one who's done all of the research, so I'm going to ask the questions and jump in every now and then just to make it look as if I've got some intelligence. And so what's the 5-2 fast, and why don't we do it?
Well, the 5-2, it's actually quite popular. It's kind of a big celebrity thing. Not that I know about
Okay.
these things because I don't do magazines and newspapers and things very often.
Yeah.
So the 5-2 diet is where you eat normally for 5 days of the week. So your regular diet for 5 days a week. And then for 2 days a week, you just eat 500 calories on those 2 days. Now, normally people like this because you can eat normally in your weekday when you're at work, and then at the weekend you can do your dieting thing.
Yeah, but that's not fasting, really, is it? Fasting's not eating anything.
Really, but you see that you are reducing calories because you're only eating 500 calories. But of course, if you watch some of our videos, you'll realise that actually fasting, reducing calories is not really what it's all about. They do come into it to a certain degree, but the majority of the time it's not really counting calories, and that's the difference between keto and other forms of weight loss lifestyles and diets and regimes.
And eating nothing is different from eating just a little bit.
Yes,
it does completely different things to the body. I think we've done a video about it, or
we have. I mean, the thing is with eating, if you eat anything like carbohydrates or fat or protein, it will spike your insulin in some way. Fat will just spike it a tiny bit, protein spikes it a fair bit, but carbs will spike it a lot. So if you're eating, say for example, your 500 calories for the day are going to be, a bowl of popcorn and 2 slices of toast or something, I don't know, that's rubbish food, so don't eat that, but you get the idea. If you're just going to eat that, then you're going to spike your insulin and you're going to be starving by the time you get about an hour and a half in. After you've finished eating, you're going to want something else to eat. So it does always seem to be a little bit mad. And most of the sort of keto and fasting people that I have been watching or I've spoken to have said that it's fine for some people, but it's not sustainable. You cannot do this all the time because you will not be able to carry on with it.
Sorry, carry on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, is that because you don't go into ketosis?
Well, you don't really go into ketosis at all unless, of course, you are eating low carb or keto. Then it might work then. But that would be, I think, the only time that this would actually be sustainable is if you were doing ketosis diet, a ketogenic diet for the 5 days and only eating, a small amount, a bigger fast maybe on the 2 days that you're eating less. But it does seem to me, everybody that I've spoken to about this has said that the 5-2 is great. You can lose weight to go on holiday or something and the weight drops off fairly nicely. However, you can't maintain it. And so you stop doing it and the weight comes back on again like that really quickly. So it's not brilliant. And a lot of doctors and a lot of scientists who talk about the 5-2 say it's actually not very good. So we try and avoid that one if we can.
So is that, I anticipate you'd lose a lot of water weight on that at the weekend, and so that's probably why you put it straight back on again.
Yeah, and if you're eating carbohydrates, it's not brilliant. So if you are going to do 5-2, our suggestion is to do it ketogenically. So you're eating keto diet all the time, but just at the weekends you just cut back and maybe just do 1 meal a day and make it quite small.
Yeah.
And then that might work then, because you could do maybe OMAD on your days off, and then just regular keto throughout the rest of the week. And when we say normal, we don't mean 3 keto meals. It's probably only going to be 2 keto meals, and then that might work then.
Yeah. And then that's not really 5-2 because actually you're fasting. If you're doing 2 meals a day,
exactly. So
you're fasting, intermittent.
Do you know what I mean? It's not really. You see where we're coming from here? It's a little bit like. So you would lose a lot of water weight because the day that you're not eating that many carbs on the days that you're fasting, and it's not really fasting either. That's another thing. No. If you're actually eating something, then you're not doing 24 hours of fasting. So it doesn't really. It's called a fasting diet, but it's really not. Yeah. It's a bit mad, that one.
Yeah, and also there's the sort of sudden changes to what you're doing, and that's not necessarily good. It's a stress on the body, and then going straight back to whatever's normal. Yeah. And if you're just eating normal carb food, then
It's not a good plan, and
No.
it won't work because you'll be really, really hungry. And of
That's
course,
the worst thing,
that's
yeah,
not,
the craving.
That's going to be the worst thing, and you're going to cave. I mean, if you're anything like us, we'll cave at the first sign of it. But with the keto, we haven't felt like caving at all. So it's just a completely different. It's a different ball game altogether.
Okay, then we'll put that one to one side then and go on to the next one.
Not brilliant.
Alternate day fasting. So this
Right.
one's slightly better.
Yeah.
Why is that better for you?
This one is slightly better because you do actually go into ketosis, even if you are not eating ketogenically. So what happens is that one day you eat normally and the next day you just don't eat at all. That is the rule, and that's how it works. Now some people are do it slightly differently, where they just eat a tiny amount, so they'll eat 500 calories on the day that they're fasting, but of course that's not fasting.
No.
So fasting is where you eat nothing, nada, no calories, nothing. So only water and that's it. That's proper fasting. So again, this can be taken with a pinch of salt. So alternate day fasting, I know that there's a couple of people who've got video channels online who do ketogenic diet with alternate day fasting, and there's one woman in particular, cannot remember the name of her channel, beg your pardon, but she has lost a heck of a lot of weight by doing this. And she just doesn't eat at all for 24 hours. So she'll finish eating about 8 o'clock at night, she was saying, on the day of her normal eating day. Then she doesn't eat at all, and then she wakes up and has breakfast on the day after her fast. So she'll just, it's basically 36-hour fasting.
I imagine you'd need a lot of what's it called? Not stamina.
Just willpower.
Willpower, I suppose, is the word. Yeah,
but
just
I think
to keep on doing it like that.
She's a bit like you were. She's been dieting all of her life, bless her. And then I think she'd had children. And of course, unfortunately for women, once you've had children, we are more susceptible to putting on weight. Well, that's a whole nother show. But so this is the thing. It's like, it was easy for her to do, and it was good, and she had a family member doing it with her. Her dad did it with her as well.
Right.
Then her mum joined in, then her husband joined in, and now they've all lost like 90 pounds each. It's unreal, and they all look incredible. So
it works
brilliant.
for some people.
Yeah, it does work. But of course, if you are going to be eating something on the days that you're supposed to be fasting, you won't lose weight as fast, but you will go into ketosis because you're doing that, and you may even go into autophagy.
Yeah, and it depends, I guess, what kind of diet you're eating on the normal days.
Yeah.
If you're really packing in the carbs,
then it will be extremely
really
difficult for you on the days that you're supposed to be fasting. It'll be so hard.
Yeah, so the closer to low carb and keto you get,
yeah,
the
even
better.
low carb. It's I was reading a study on it actually, on alternate day fasting, and with a low carb diet, which basically means that you're eating less than 200 grams of carbs a day, which to me is still a hell of a lot of carbs. I would say if you're eating 100 grams of carbs a day, Scats and I only eat 20 grams a day, if that. But yeah, if you're eating anything up to about 100 grams a day, this would work for you quite well, I would say.
Yeah.
And of course, you'd reduce your inflammation down enormously if that's what's going on for you too, if you're in pain relief and arthritis and things like that. So that would actually work quite nicely.
Yeah, and it's I suppose one of the problems with this one is it does take, after you've eaten a high carb diet for years and years, it can take you 3 whole days or even 5 to 6 days before you reach that. You go through the keto flu and then you're properly into ketosis.
Yeah, I mean,
and really the idea would be to sort out your insulin resistance.
Yeah.
First. Which means keep on going and keep on going, and that takes months and months and months. So all of these diets where you eat a normal diet for part of it are going to be problematic because you'll never get to that stage.
And I think probably the best thing to do, if you're going to do alternate day fasting, then the best thing to do would be to be in ketosis first. So you start eating a keto diet first, and then you go into the alternate day fasting, and I think that would be probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And then you'd be less likely to get hungry because you could have a fat-filled meal for your last meal, and then do the day of fasting, and then go back into it the day after. And I think that would probably work really well, actually. It certainly has worked. There's a lot of people online who it's worked brilliantly for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there, the third pattern of fasting is the one we do every day.
Yeah.
Well, apart from when we go into the fourth one, which we'll come to in a minute.
Yeah.
But this is intermittent fasting, and yeah, we obviously think it's the best. And there is some variation with this one, so let's explain it again for those of you who haven't watched all of our videos that tell you already.
Fantastic.
And,
hello if you're new.
Yes, hello.
That's great.
And do give us a wave on the chat, by the way. We didn't
we'd
mention
love
that.
to see you.
I don't know how many of you are braving the storm to watch this live. I think a lot of
Yeah.
you are watching back afterwards because
That's
you're
fine.
saving your electricity just in case it goes off, and lighting candles. Anyway, so intermittent fasting, let's explain
So
that.
intermittent fasting is where you basically reduce. You start off by, you find out when you start eating at the beginning of the day and when you finish eating at the end of the day, and that includes snacks and everything. And then what you do is you gradually reduce the time that you eat, or the window that you eat in. So say, for example, you start eating first thing in the morning at 8 and you finish eating at 6, then what you would do was you would move your breakfast forward, move it forward so it's you eating at 9 instead of 8, and then you would shift your dinner back so that you're eating at 5 instead of 6. So you would just squeeze down that window, and you just wait and do that for a week, and then once you've got used to that, then you would do another 2 hours or an hour either end, depending on how you're feeling and how you're doing. If you're lack of willpower like me, then it's probably best just to reduce by an hour at one end, until you get to a point where you are eating in an 8-hour window. And that is called 16-8, because you're fasting for 16 hours out of the 24 and only eating for 8 hours. Now that doesn't mean that you're just standing at the fridge eating everything out of it for 8 full hours non-stop. That's not what it's about. It's about just reducing down the time, and you'd have a meal or a couple of meals within that 8 hours, preferably just 2 meals maximum with no snacking in the middle, because if you start snacking you will spike your insulin again. Doesn't matter what you eat, whether it be just a couple of quick sausage out the fridge or an egg or something, then you will actually spike your insulin. So now once you've got to that point, you can gradually just go with your own body and just move the window so it's narrow the window so that it's shorter and shorter and shorter. And now our window is between 18 and 20 hours per day. So we fast basically for about 18 to 20 hours, isn't it, normally?
And it is quite easy, especially if we go out for a walk in the morning, and then we'll come back, and it might be 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon by the time
before we're eating,
and then that's 19 hours, now 19 or 20 hours, and then we eat it at 5 o'clock.
Now the beauty of this is if you are eating a ketogenic diet, so very low carb or under 50 grams of carbs per day, then this is going to be simple for you, because you're not going to feel hungry. We got psychologically hungry, and I still get sometimes psychologically hungry, especially if I'm doing a 24-hour fast. So if I'm only doing 1 meal a day, for example, or 23 hours, something like that, if I'm doing an OMAD or a 1 meal a day, then I do tend to get hungry around about 1-2 o'clock, and I'm thinking I'm normally eating around about now. But you can kind of just drink some water, go out for a walk, go and do something with your hands, do the washing up, hang the washing out, do some work, and you get over it fairly quickly, because a hunger pang only lasts for 20 minutes maximum. 20 minutes, that's how long you've got to occupy your mind, do something different, go and talk to somebody, phone a friend, Zoom chat somebody, and then you'll be fine. It's not,
and the fat doesn't make you hungry. It keeps you going for a lot longer, much longer than carbs do. Carbs are the ones that cause the hunger. That's what I keep telling people when they say, don't you get hungry? Well, yes, you do get hungry, but it's nowhere near as much.
It's like that gnawing hunger that we used to get with carbohydrate when we're eating carbohydrates, and you don't kind of flag either particularly. I don't feel the need very often to nod off in the afternoon anymore like we used to.
No. Not unless we haven't slept properly at night. Which,
we're not at the minute, but that's another.
That's because it's winter.
That's another thing altogether. But we don't feel the flag of energy we're not flagging anymore, which is fantastic.
No.
Should I say flag any more times? I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure.
Flaggity flag.
Fun with flags.
Fun with flags.
Yeah.
So
So that's intermittent fasting, and it's brilliant because you get into, if you're doing it with keto, you get into ketosis like that. It's fabulous. And also, if you want to take it a little bit longer, then this is the next thing.
It is the next one. I mean, we've been doing intermittent fasting now since
A year,
I think
nearly.
May last
Yeah,
year. Yeah, I mean, in fact, I was probably doing it from nearly January last year.
Yeah, you were.
Accidentally, I was only doing 2 meals and I wasn't
Hello,
eating
Aman.
till.
Yeah.
Hello, man. Hello. Good. We have somebody on the chat.
Yay,
Give us a
lovely.
wave.
Yeah, so I think I was doing intermittent fasting from April, and Scats was probably about, well, like you said, probably already there. Harry, lovely to see you. So we were doing intermittent fasting and keto, and so here we are now talking about prolonged fasting. Prolonged fasting is something now that we do quite regularly. Last year we were doing every month, weren't we? We were doing quite a long one, weren't we? 48 to 72 hour fasts, and we even did a 96 hour at one point. But we kind of got out of the loop of that a little bit. December we didn't. I've been doing kind of like a 36 hour 40 fast every week at the minute, just to try and get myself back in. It's not working, so I'm just leaving that for now. But prolonged fasting is where you do not eat for periods longer than 24 hours. And that can include sort of just 24 hours, or you can go up to 36 or 42, 36 or 48 hours. It's nice to sort of round it off. Before you do a prolonged fast, just make sure that you set yourself a time when you're going to start, when you're going to finish, and please do it properly. We've got lots of videos. If you don't
Thank
mind,
you, Emma.
how old are you? Thank you, darling.
Yes.
Oh, bless
Guess. No, I shouldn't say that.
No, don't guess. Don't do that to the poor man. I'm 50 years old.
And I'm 56.
And Scats is 56. Thank you, Aman. We look good, apparently.
Yeah.
It's made my day. Lovely. Thank you very much.
Of course, I'm dressed in black today. I'm the man in black. So that always helps you figure, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but no, I mean, I did get down to about £10 lower than this.
Yeah, me too.
Back in October when I reached my target weight, and I've gone up and down a little bit since then, just within a small range. But Christmas, New Year, I just went up a bit, and it wasn't because I came out of ketosis. I was just enjoying some of the lovely fats and overindulged in those. But
our portion sizes went a bit haywire, didn't they?
Yeah.
Over Christmas, we started eating a lot again.
that is the main thing.
Yeah, that is. And it doesn't matter, where you're eating, you can actually, if you're eating too much food, you're going to put the weight on. So there we are. So the beauty of prolonged fasting is that you get into something called autophagy, and autophagy is where the body goes into recycling mode because there's no food coming in, and it goes searching for food everywhere.
Recycle.
So it's very green, but it's also fantastic because it'll get rid of any kind of dead or damaged cells in the body. So if you have even things like pre-cancerous cells, it will eat them up and get rid of them and use them again. It will also look for old viruses that are lurking, anything like that, anything that's dead or damaged, anything like that. It will just take it, eat it up, make what it can of it, and then repurpose. I do apologise. It'll repurpose things that you've long sort of just had sitting there going a bit stagnant. It's a bit like cleaning out your stagnant pond. There we go. Isn't that lovely?
Nice.
You get some lovely fresh water in your body, and if you fast for long enough, you will even start to produce things like human growth hormone. Now, human growth hormone, normally by the time you hit 40 years old, I'll get to your question in a minute, my love. Normally by the time you get to about 40 years old, the human growth hormone is kind of defunct, doesn't really happen very much anymore. So getting in past 24 hours, you'll be producing human growth hormone. And also you start producing GABA neurotransmitters, which are the mellow neurotransmitters, which are fantastic.
Oh, they do feel really good.
Now,
yes, let's answer that question. So
Aman,
the question
how
was,
do you check
how do you check that you're in ketosis?
Right.
You'll know.
Well, you probably know.
The first time you get into it.
Yeah, if you've never done ketosis before, Aman, then you will find that you may get a little bit sick. You feel a little bit like you're just fluey, bit achy. You're 40, fabulous. Oh, it's just a spring chicken.
Ah, just a
Fabulous.
youngster. Yeah.
Yes, so you may find that you don't feel very well for a couple of days. You'll feel a bit tired. Some people don't feel anything at all when they go into ketosis. However, if you want to check if you're in ketosis, the best way to do that is to buy a machine that you can buy online, where you just do a quick prick of the finger and get some bloods, and it will tell you whether you're in ketosis or not. We tried doing the pee sticks, and they are next to useless, because initially when you go into ketosis, you produce loads of them, and it'll frighten you to death, because you'll think, I'm going into ketoacidosis. That's not the case at all. It's just that the body's going, whoa, so many ketones, I need to get rid of them. And so you'll pee them all out. So the best thing to do is to do the stab of the blood thing and get a keto machine online. I think they cost about €25. I'm not sure what that is in rupees, about if my exchange rate is right, that'll be about 2,500 rupees, I think. Aman, if you're actually in India, I don't know if you are, my love, I'm just assuming.
Yes, you said from India earlier on.
Yeah. I didn't know whether he's actually still in India or whether he's moved somewhere else. But yeah, so it's the middle of the night there, I think, as well.
Yeah, it could well be.
Wow.
Just to make it clear, you said earlier that going into ketosis you feel unwell. That's the keto flu bit before you go into ketosis. When you get into ketosis, you get this surge of energy.
Yeah.
And that's why I said you'll know when you get into it for the first time, because you just,
it's amazing.
There's a suddenly awake, and you have this kind of steady level of energy.
Yeah.
You know, unless you go for a very fast run or something, then you might start running out again. But you know, generally, if you're just keeping going normally in a normal sort of life, then you'll have this burst, and you won't feel as hungry, and you'll feel all of the benefits.
Yeah. So ketosis is fantastic because it actually is the best brain fuel. We normally, when we eat a so-called normal diet with lots of carbohydrates in, the brain and the body use glucose, and the ketosis is just where we switch. How long do we fast for ketosis? Okay.
I'll field the question.
Okay.
You carry on, so you don't get interrupted.
Yeah, I know. I'm just lost my train of thought there as well.
Should we answer the question then?
Well, let's answer the question.
We slightly mentioned it earlier, but let's make it clearer. How long do you have to fast to get into ketosis?
Right. Okay. So, if you are eating, if you are eating a regular carbohydrate-filled diet, it will take you, if you're fasting, it will take you about 18 to 19 hours on average to get into ketosis.
Depends what you've eaten. A lot. If you're eating a lot of carbs, it might take longer.
It might take much longer.
If you've been in ketosis before and not had many carbs, then a lot quicker.
Yeah, and that may even, but that's only if you're fasting. If you're just changing into a ketogenic diet, then it will take you about a week to get into ketosis, and once you get to sort of 7 to 10 days in, it might even happen sooner, depending on your metabolism and how many carbohydrates you've been eating. It may be only 5 days, but I've heard people getting into ketosis in 3 days, but that's really kind of rare, and I think you just basically need to have not been eating many carbohydrates at all. So no rice, no bread, no pasta, anything like that at all.
I don't know if, Aman, are you doing a keto diet as well, or just fasting?
Yeah.
So I think the question was about
it's about
if
fasting.
you're just fasting. So.
Yeah. So yes, I was talking about ketosis and how well it works for the brain. That was it. Yes. So when you are in ketosis, when you are producing ketones because you are burning fat instead of burning glucose, which is basically what ketosis is, you will find that your brain starts going ping and everything is much, much clearer. You will be able to recall memory much faster. And it's just basically an incredible experience when you first go in. We loved it, didn't we? It was fantastic.
Yeah, so another question, if
Yeah.
I consume fat and protein only, then how much time? Well, if you're consuming
Right.
fat and protein in the right quantities,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to get your macros right there.
Yeah.
Then that means you would be heading into ketosis even without the fasting, as long as you've got
Yeah.
your macros right.
Yeah.
So it depends on how much fat and protein you've been eating again. But if you've been eating 20 grams of no, that's carbs. So if you're not eating any carbs, which is very difficult because there's carbs in a lot of
Yeah,
foods
there's carbs in vegetables, so yeah, be warned about that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's even small amounts of carb in other things that you wouldn't expect, like proteins. So, but basically, if you were going for, say, I don't know, 70 or 80% fat and 20 or 30% protein,
Yeah.
then you'd be in ketosis. You'd be on a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
If it was just,
That's right. If you're doing carnivore, which is basically no vegetables at all, and it's just animal products, so it's just meat and eggs and cheeses as well that are sometimes allowed, then you will basically be in ketosis probably within the week.
yeah,
I would
maybe
say.
even 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. And of course it depends on how long you've been doing that already as well. If you're eating vegetables as well, then please be warned that root vegetables like potatoes and carrots and parsnips and things like that, yams, all contain a lot of carbohydrates, so you need to kind of reduce those right down or get rid of them altogether. If you're eating leaves, dark green leaves, that's the ones that we tend to eat, so they tend to be the best ones, and you can really keep your carbs down to a minimum. I have been basically doing carnivore diet myself. If you want to know more about carnivore diet, the best guy online for carnivore diet is Dr. Ken Berry. He is fantastic. You can find him very easily. He's got a massive channel now. Ken Berry, his name is, and he is a medical doctor who eats carnivore diet. He does not eat any vegetables whatsoever, or very rarely. Fruit, vegetables, he doesn't eat any.
He's done a lot of keto as well, so
Yeah.
he's kind of an expert on both. But yeah, he's doing carnivore an awful
Yeah.
lot. He's over in America.
Yeah, he's fantastic, so do check out his channel as well. And because of his medical background, he really is very, very knowledgeable in carnivore diet. They have a small baby, and they feed the baby carnivore diet as well. The baby's in ketosis, which is how wicked is that? That's brilliant. Yeah.
And remember, it's good to fast as long as you have over 10% body fat.
Yeah.
That means you've got to be healthy. If you're not sure, you need to go to a medical professional and just check that out, because you don't want to be fasting if you've not got enough fat to burn, because the fat will just fall off.
Yeah. You will get rid of an awful lot of fat very quickly with keto and with fasting. Yeah.
This is true. So
Yeah.
so it's okay to pick up any version of this, whichever works best for you, isn't it, really?
I think so, yeah. And of course some people, the 5-2 will work fantastic for them. It wouldn't work for us, because I just always crave food, because I'm just a food junkie. And so the alternate day fasting, I could probably manage that. But I'm thinking more along the line of, I think it's easier just to do the intermittent fasting, really. And especially if you're doing keto with it.
So, a good question here.
Yeah.
How much time is safe or healthy to be in a keto diet for beginners? Well, this is something that's hotly debated, whether you can do it long term. We've been doing it for
nearly a year now.
Nearly a year. And there are people who've been doing it 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
And but there are people who say, no, you shouldn't. You should occasionally come out of ketosis.
Yeah.
And there's some people who say, no, you shouldn't do ketosis at all. And we don't agree with them, because there is medical evidence to show that it's beneficial. So that's an uncertain one, really.
I think the best thing for you to do would be to go to a nutritionalist, because
well, I'm not so sure about that myself,
well,
because
I mean,
you need a
depends.
nutritionalist who knows about keto and fasting.
That's right.
Because a lot of them will actually tell you the basic food pyramid that you get in your country, which is standard and contains 80% carbohydrates. So I wouldn't trust anybody that goes by that.
No, but
really.
you may find a keto nutritionist. If you can find one of those, all power to you, and go for it. However, if you want to know more about keto and watch somebody who has been doing keto for a long time, I'm going to make another recommendation. Dr. Sten Ekberg. Dr. Sten Ekberg.
Yeah, he's very
this
good.
guy is the guy who set us off. He is an ex-Olympic decathlete, and he has been doing ketogenic diet and intermittent and prolonged fasting for over 20 years now. And he is the healthiest guy on the planet, I think, just about. I mean, he's just unreal. He's super fit, and he's very, very healthy, and he is very good at explaining about how the keto diet is perfectly fine for you. If you have underlying health problems like kidney issues, it may help to sort of get them sorted out first. But I can't really see any issue. There was one girl who was on the keto diet and ended up in kidney failure, but it turned out she had got a very major issue with her kidneys to start off with, and that was the reason why it caused her so much issue, because she just suddenly changed into a completely different fuel without sorting out her body first. If you're basically a healthy person, you don't normally get sick and you're okay, you don't go and see a doctor regularly, then I suggest that the keto diet will be absolutely fine for you.
As long as you get the balance of foods right, and it took us a while to get that, and you've got to also get your balances of omega-3, 6 and 9 right. We've made videos all about that. The macros is very important. I think you should measure your macros, certainly to start with, until you get used to knowing how many grams of fats and carbs and proteins are in each kind of food, because it's not the volume of food as you look at it. It's the number of grams, and there are apps you can get which tell you exactly how many grams of those different things are in the foods. And once you get that balance right, then you can do it every day. And I always find that it's best to vary it slightly. I talked about varying the fast. Sometimes I'll just have a handful of nuts and maybe a few berries, or maybe a piece of cheese to go with that, and that's my kind of breakfast, if you like, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'll have the bigger meal later on at 5 o'clock. I don't know where I was going with that, but yes, it's just a matter of balancing. Or some days I'll have I might eat at 11 or 12, and like today I had an omelette with a load of different Italian meats and Spanish meats, and with a load of cheese on it, and with a load of cooked in some fat, and on those days I tend to lose weight more than I do when I've had a load of cheese and meats. So and
of course,
I'm not sure why that is.
It's very personal to your own metabolism, what you're doing, how well you're feeling, whether you're getting sleep. If you're sleep deprived, then it would be very, very difficult to lose weight. Let me tell you, because sleep is a vital part of the mechanism that helps you to lose weight, if that's why you're doing what you're doing. Aman was saying a macro calculator. I suggest there are thousands of them online.
I used to use, I can't remember the one I used to use, but it was I had to pay every 3 months for kind of a monthly fee, and I can't remember what it was called now, but I've stopped paying for that one, and I've found one that's free, but I've not been using it. So
an app on your phone.
What we'll do, Aman, is I'll look and try and find that, and I'll put it in the comments below. So keep watching the comments over the next few days. Come back to it, and we'll try and make a recommendation.
Definitely.
Thank you for asking.
Sorry about that.
And love you too.
And we love you too. Brilliant. Thank you for your conversation this evening. It's been great. You had some really good questions as well, which is fantastic. Just what we need.
It's always good to have questions
to move you along. So
I was going to say I had a fasting failure this week, but it was all because of a visit to the dentist. To have I actually went to the dentist to have my teeth cleaned, because I'd gone to the dentist 2 weeks before to have a checkup, and I hadn't had my teeth cleaned for a little while, so they said, come back and have your teeth cleaned, and you can have it's a bit cheaper. Anyway, that's irrelevant. It's lucky I did, because the woman who cleaned my teeth, she noticed there was an abscess in one of my front teeth, this one here, Both of these front two have got caps on them, and one had been loose ever since some of it broke off here. Anyway, to cut a long story short, she prescribed antibiotics, and I'm supposed to take them 3 times a day, which, if you think about the 2 or 1 times a day that I normally eat now on ketosis,
It's not gonna work.
well, it was just. And when I went to the chemist, the funny thing is, the chemist said take them with food, which is a bit rubbish because, as I said, I only eat once or twice a day, and I'd started a prolonged fast the day before. So I said to the chemist, well, actually I'm fasting at the moment, and he said, oh, just have it with some yogurt then, which kind of stopped my brain for a minute. I was a bit stunned because and then I nearly went to get him a dictionary so he could look up the meaning of fasting, because but obviously I didn't, because I didn't think of it fast enough. I wanted to be witty. It's always the case, isn't it?
In hindsight. Yeah.
And anyway, so I was going to try taking it without food. Actually, the label said you can drink water with it, but Liz checked, and it seems by taking the tablet it would throw me out of autophagy. So I thought, well, it's a waste of time me doing 96-hour fast when I'm dropping it in and out of autophagy, and it's not going to give me the full effect. So I'm going to wait until the 7 days is up, and then do a fast next week instead, and I'll do 3 or 4 days then.
Yeah, and of course not all. And the problem is with antibiotics is that it not only does it kill off any kind of bacterial infection, but it'll also kill. It doesn't kill off the bad stuff, but it also kills off the good stuff. So all of your gut flora gets messed about with, and then of course we have to reintroduce good gut flora back in. So I'll be plying you with probiotics when you've finished as well.
Apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar has got some probiotics in. Also sauerkraut. Kimchi is another really good one. I love kimchi. It's really kind of spicy and really nice, and that kind of thing. So you can eat all those, or you can take a supplement as well, which is fine.
Okay, moving swiftly on. So that's all about fasting just for today. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments below, and we'll get back to you. We have some very amazing news coming in a few minutes, so don't go away. Some just normal good news first, though. It's not amazing, but it's still good. The weight loss is beginning again. I know we've been sometimes feel like a dog who's been asleep for all this time. Just you've got to stretch into it really gradually. We plan to do a video reintroducing the idea of keto and fasting and how to get back into it after the winter, when you've tried and it's not quite worked. When the winter finally ceases outside with its ravaging and storming. We're still waiting and waiting for spring. It's nearly there, and there are flowers. There's some very brave flowers popping up very early.
They won't be out there by after tonight, that's for certain. It is blowing a hoolie out there tonight.
That's true. Normally at the start of the spring, it's the tradition for the Queen of England to take her Christmas tree down at the end of February, and even we didn't keep ours up long this year, and the poor Queen, she's got a lot on her plate at the moment. She's got more than baubles to worry about. So anyway, that's irrelevant. So other things we're waiting for. We're still waiting for news about my Irish citizenship. Nothing new yet has come through, but it's got to be any day now.
Still waiting.
Still waiting for news about my dad's house. May he rest in peace. The sale is going through, and hopefully there's going to be some news this week, because we're having a family Zoom later this week, so there's a bit of excitement.
Well, we hope
good
so.
to speak to the brothers and sisters.
Might just be a catch up. We don't know yet, really, do we?
You never know. And we're still waiting, like you, for the lockdowns to ease. Some countries are easing faster than others. Things are beginning to look a bit better. Some restrictions are gone. Schools are going back gradually. It's not over yet, but there's some hope.
Yeah, our schools have been back.
Just part of the school, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the schools have been back. For the first 4 years of primary have been back for just over a week now. And the Leaving Cert kids, the kids who are like 17, 18 years old, they're back because they've got examinations this year. And then I think they're going to be gradually introducing everybody back. And I think that the idea is that all kids in schools will be back after the Easter holidays.
Yes. So that's Ireland, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
The euro exchange rate against the pound is getting better by the day, which is something which will affect us in a positive way for when we plan to go to Spain and survive financially.
We're praying for strong pound at the moment, which is slightly mad, but we are. We're looking for the pound to get really strong, and it's really doing a good job at the minute. So we're happy about that.
So another thing we're waiting for, which is another piece of amazing news, is that Liz is writing a second book, which will be her swan song to Kerry, and that's very lovely. And her second book, you say? That means she's got a first book. Yes. And here's a picture. So let me go into. I'm going to shrink us down again, so I can show you the cover of the. There we go. Hello.
We've gone all tiny.
So where's the cover of the book? I'm going to have to put my glasses on because
it's right there.
So, yeah, well, that's no good. All I can see is a blurred finger.
Sorry.
Liz book cover there. I've got to click on that. There it is. My Walks in Kerry. And I'll put that email address up as well there. That's what you need to get the copy of the book. What do they need to do?
So what you need to do is to put that email address into PayPal.
Aha.
And what happens is you don't even need to have a PayPal account. You just go into PayPal, and they ask you for an email address that you want to send money to, and bingo, if you put that in there, then it will send money to me. And so
and click on the send to a friend, because we're all your friends.
So if you want to book, it's just a kind of a prose of my little walks, meeting flora and fauna along the way in South Kerry, in this very beautiful part of the world. And it is €4.99. So there we are.
There we go. So let's unclick that one. We're going to Blurred, and we'll go back big again. Hello, large again. And and that's an e-book, so it's an electronic copy, so you get it very, very quickly.
I'll send you a copy of it via PDF. So
indeed. And also Liz was on she got interviewed. Let's show a picture of this. Where are you?
Up.
Oh no, that's the email.
2 up.
Oh yes, 2 up. There she is being interviewed for the local newspaper, the Kerry's Eye.
Thank you.
Nice, says a man. And so fame beckons for Liz there. And the book is brilliant.
Fabulous.
Yes, I've read it. Shall we go big again? Yes. And so the amazing news we've all been waiting for, and I've been waiting for, and I know it's coming. It's and it's not the song that we always do at the end, but stick around for that, because it's Liz's turn to sing this week. I've been singing for weeks and weeks now, but the news is the computer is finally fixed.
It's amazing. What a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. And what's that got to do with you, I hear you ask? Well, that's a very important lesson.
Back here with all of this, which is why it's good.
Yes. There's an important lesson for all of you, and I'll tell you the story in a nutshell. Then I'll tell you what you need to know, what that special lesson is. This is a story that you've been following for a few weeks now if you've been watching our videos, but it's been ongoing for months and months in my head. So finally, after months of investigating online and checking out what the problem is with the computer crashing, tried out different solutions, working through different apps and programs that I thought the problem was based on, and startup disks, and reformatting the hard drive to set it up again from scratch, and resetting settings and cleaning everything up from the background that was working in the background, and deleting loads of old files to make more room, and unplugging various different things, all of the sorts of things that could make computers crash. And that made my life hell for months. I finally ran out of software to test, and realized, well, it must be the hardware, must be something wrong with the computer. And I've been refusing to believe that Liz kept saying, it's the computer that's broken, and I said, no, it can't be, it's a program. Anyway, so I called Apple, and they took me through various checks which I'd already done, until finally on my second long call of the day to them, the techie man mentioned the RAM. And these things, these are the sort of, in that box there, that's the removable RAM that you get in the back of these computers. Yes, that's the one that came with the Apple. That's not the broken one. Ooh, he's subscribed. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
And so this is the short-term memory. of the machine, and it's possible to replace these, and which is what I actually did when I bought the computer. I took these two out, the 8 gigabytes of RAM altogether, and I bought 120 gigabytes. I bought 4 32 gigabyte RAMs, bigger and faster and better. I maxed out this beast. That's what I did. And anyway, the techie man said, tell you what, take out the ones you bought, put these two back in again, and then see if the crashing still happens. And it didn't. So the clouds parted, the sun shone once again, and I may be a writer, but I can't express just the sheer unadulterated relief that hit me. You have absolutely no idea, and Liz didn't believe it for the first several days. I don't think.
I'm afraid that I'm Mrs. Pessimistic at the moment. So wait, this has been going on for such a long time. We bought a new computer thinking that would help things, and oh my goodness. So anyway, it's just gone on and on.
And it went on for a few more days even then, because I had to find out which of the... That's all right. It's probably the wrong way around. You had to find out which one of the 4 chips it was, so I had to try them one at a time. And because the computer wasn't crashing straight away, you had to wait like 45 minutes to see whether it crashed. Anyway, so it took... it took basically a few days, over the course of a few days, and now I found the one, and of course it was the 4th one that I tested. So if it had been the first one, that would have been lovely. Anyway, so I've sent that off now to be replaced, and I'm very, 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 very happy.
Yeah, that's good.
So tell us the lesson, Scats. What's the lesson in this? Okay, thank you for asking. I will. And this is probably true for any piece of technology, certainly for every computer, but definitely crucial for an Apple computer. There's a checklist online on the Apple website that you can run through for troubleshooting the big faults like this. Always go through all of the checklist one by one, follow the instructions. If I'd done that in November, I could have solved this straight away, because it would have clicked, because I'd only just bought the RAM. And that's all that the second techie man did, which begs the question, why didn't the first one do that? And why didn't any of the experts on the forum suggest it, instead of maybe some of them had their own agendas, because there were certain things that they always look at, and that's always the first thing that they view. And so anyway, lesson learned, a very important lesson, and the computer works. So it's time for the song next, because we've talked a bit, because there are lots of questions, but don't forget we have 2 other channels. So if you want free yoga and meditation videos, U2 Yoga with Liz, have a look for that. The address is in the description below the video. It's already there. And if you want to find out about moving to Spain, or moving around Spain, or living in Spain, look for the U2 Spain. I've not got that t-shirt on, but there actually, let me show you this one. There was Camino. Where's the Camino thumb? There we go. That was the last video I made, the Journeys Through Spain #1, the Camino de Santiago.
That was really cool.
That was a friend of mine called Neil. It was brilliant. Lovely talker.
Fantastic raconteur, and it was just really good. You should have a quick look at that if you can. It's great.
Yes, and this Saturday I'm talking to my resident expert Chris from Upsticks, from all the way in Malaga, all about the visas that you need if you're not an EU citizen. It says visas for Brits, but that's because they're the relevant ones to the sort of people that are watching the channel at the moment. So subscribe to those channels, get your free yoga, and watch some brilliant stuff about Spain. Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time for the U2 Spain channel, and Liz updates videos and puts them on at different times. So
can I just ask, Aman, which part of India are you from, my love? Because I went to India to do my yoga teacher training. I went to Rishikesh in Uttarakhand. So
I'll get my guitar out while you're
nice to know where you're from. I know India's massive and beautiful, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I can't wait to go. We'll get together, we'll sing you a song.
Amazing.
Make sure you've got a guitar handy. Or I can play keyboard. I can play anything.
Have we got any words?
We have. Yeah. Let's just move that out of the way, because there's somewhere down here. Words are on the screen. There we go. Lovely. So this is a song that was sung a lot during the Great War. Wasn't really a great war.
Both the wars, actually.
Yes, there's only one that was called Great.
That was
It's a
the
really
first-
great war.
first one.
Yeah, you can't do anything better than a great war. Can you? Silly. So, yes, and Vera Lynn sang a really good version of this. So we're going to sing her version, or Liz is going to sing her version
You're from Delhi.
from Delhi.
Fantastic.
There, beautiful.
Perhaps another time, Aman. We haven't got a lot of time right now. We're just coming to the end of our show, so another time we'll talk about my yoga journey.
Yes, find the yoga site and put a note in there, man. And yeah, been to Rishikesh,
Yeah,
marvelous.
of course you have, my love. It's a
Of course.
fabulous place.
I'm going to find this chord. It's a lovely chord. I've never played that chord before in my life, except practicing for this earlier on today. I can't get it. Here we go.
Oh, okay. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky. Then, like my dreams, they fade and die. Fortune's always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
I'm dreaming dreams, I'm scheming schemes, I'm building castles high. They're born anew, their days are few, just like a sweet butterfly. And as the daylight is dawning, they come again in the morning.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky. Then, like my dreams, they fade and die. Fortune's always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Isn't that such a lovely song?
It is lovely.
I like these old songs.
Yeah.
And they're free for
Indeed.
everybody to sing, free from copyright. So, and now we make you free. Thank you for staying to the very
you.
end. Namaste.
Yeah, namaste, Aman.
And we love you. Don't forget, those of you who are listening back, if you haven't already subscribed and clicked on the bell, ting, then do that. And there's the Patreon as well. Yes, if you want to support us, then let's put the Patreon address up, which is just there.
Yeah.
And you can go there and give a certain amount every month if you have that.
You're not just giving, you actually receive a lot of things too, so it's fantastic. Bless you. It's so nice to have somebody from India on. It's lovely. Yeah, so there's all sorts of benefits for being our patrons. You'll get emails every month at least, and you get money off of merchandise,
Yes.
and also all the way up to we write you a song. So there we
Yes.
are.
There you go.
Exciting.
So there we are. We're
Do
back
it.
large again, and
Do it today.
do it today. Peace and love, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next Wednesday. Same time, same place.
What's next Wednesday?
Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day here in Ireland, so big celebration. We'll have the flags out. Brilliant. Take care. Bye bye for now.
Bye.
And then